Hey everybody.
Joe Vinny, your host, Rocky the Dog Show. Listen, I have a video that I want to put out. It's about our nation's military and our nation as a whole. And listen what President Trump has to say. This is just on Memorial Day.
At Bunker Hill, quote, gave us the greatest and most noble republic ever to exist on the face of the earth, a republic that I am fixing after a long and hard 4 years, end quote.
Meantime, President Trump slamming Russian President Vladimir Putin after Russia launched a record air assault on Ukraine.
He also
See, Russia's in a situation where they say, first of all, we don't apologize for the United States. We don't apologize for being white. We don't apologize for being a Christian nation. God says, I will be exalted above all nations. Well, guess what? All nations choose not to exalt him. The nations that choose not to exalt him did not get blessed like America. America was the first nation dedicated to Jesus Christ and to God, and God blessed this nation. Did we lose our way about 1968, Lyndon B. Johnson era? Yes. Have we become corrupt? Yes. Is Trump undoing that corruption and giving America a second chance? Yes. Do other nations want America to succeed? No. We have many enemies, serious enemies. And we have to take back our colleges. We have to weed out so much more corruption, so much more fraud, get the deficit in order, and make sure we don't lose our reserve currency around the world. Um, I'll play another.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people.
President Donald Trump slamming Russian President Vladimir Putin on Sunday after Moscow launched its largest aerial attack of its 3-year war on Ukraine.
I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay?
Trump writing on social media that Putin, quote, has gone absolutely crazy. According to Ukraine's Air Force, Russia's massive, deadly overnight attack included dozens of missiles and nearly 300 attack drones, although many of those were.
Let me give you a little bit of insight here. First of all, we have demonized Russia after, remember, Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Well, they tore it down. And guess what we did? We threw Russia to the dogs. We didn't let them in NATO, screwed them at the UN, screwed them at the. We broke every treaty and we threw them to the dogs economically. We did it twice. And then we also broke agreements that we had with Putin. We also had NATO troop buildup in Ukraine. You had the government overthrown by the CIA, our corrupt part of our government, overthrew the government of Ukraine. Why? Because U.S. wanted special interests. It became the most corrupt country in third most corrupt country in the world. They're not going to be in NATO. NATO won't take them even to this day. But we had NATO troops and CIA biolabs in there. And Putin did not like the Russian provinces that are Russian speaking only, Donbass and don't remember the other region. Putin started throwing the priests, nuns, pastors in jail, coming against the residents that spoke just Russian, giving them harassment, economic harassment, prison harassment, and he suspended the Constitution. That he's since last May, he's the only president. He's a corrupt scumbag, Zelensky. He's a scumbag. And if the United States wasn't funding the war, which we have no business funding the Ukraine war, um, let Europe deal with Russia. They shouldn't have been building up troops in NATO anyway. So now we're trying to have a peace agreement with Ukraine. The problem here is, first of all, Zelensky doesn't really want a peace agreement. He's an impossible idiot to work with, making outrageous demands for peace that are unrealistic at this point. They weren't unrealistic when the first war started. They're totally unrealistic now. Also, Putin is saying, well, what happens who gets in presidency in the United States in another 3.5 years? I have to worry about my own interest. I don't want NATO and the U.S. in my backyard. So I warned you not to go into Ukraine. I warned you to get out from Ukraine. You wouldn't do it. I went to the UN. I spoke at the UN. I begged them to get you out. I called the United States. And guess what? When he started put 300,000 troops on the border of Ukraine, Biden never contacted Putin once. He said, "Oh, They're not going to go in. Remember what Biden said? What an unrealistic idiot. Biden administration is the worst administration in the history of our country, the most anti-American. We have to take back our position, political position in the world, our military position in the world, and we're having a very hard time doing that because of what Biden did for the past 4 years. But Putin got sick of the U.S. He got sick of dealing with the DEI, the critical race theory, the transgender BS, the fraud, where the printing going 40 trillion in debt, passing inflation through the globe. What gives us the right to have the reserve currency? Which Trump is coming in saying, I'm a new president. America's going to be different from this point. But how does Putin know that? We don't even know who's going to be president in the next election. So there's a lot here that needs to be unmasked. I don't totally blame Putin. I really don't. If I was Putin, I'd be sick of the U.S. But would I give Donald Trump a chance? I would be very questionable about. I would ask him, how do I know who's going to be in power in your country in the next 3.5 years? How do I know it's not going to go back to the Russia hating situation? Trump wants to do economic trade with Russia, consider them helping rebuild, helping them in Gaza. He wants to include Russia as an ally, decouple them from China. They are now coupled with China. And China hates America, is moving their warships, has declared war on the United States just a few days ago. So we have a big problem with China. Somebody's going to lead the AI race. We need 3 times the amount of energy. So this administration has opened up the nuclear facilities to build more nuclear facilities, which we need. We need clean energy, more coal, more liquid gas, more oil, or drill, baby, drill. And we're trying to sell oil to our allies, not go broke, pay down the debt, because we're in an unsustainable. The United States has cancer, and the doctor is saying we need to operate on you or you're going to die. It's that critical. We don't have 2 weeks to wait. Trump has that urgency to turn America around because there's no more time to waste. We've wrecked the reputation of this country. We've wrecked the monetary situation. We've wrecked our immigration, letting in 25 million people into our country. It's unsustainable. Our communities cannot afford to even have our own citizens have mental health help and rehab help and social programs for the kids. And we don't even have the situation now. So remember, America is in a very hard position. Pray for President Trump. Don't apologize if you're a Christian, because you know what? Christianity doesn't want to. When we go over to Muslim nations, we preach Christianity. They could say, no, we don't want to hear it, and we walk on. But we're trying to share the gospel with them because Christianity doesn't call for, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That means now like the little devil, Israel. America doesn't have to apologize for being a Christian nation. If you want to be a Muslim nation, go over to the Muslim nations, and I promise you, you won't want to live there. I guarantee you, you'll want to first flight back to the United States. A lot of these countries Iran, go try to live in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Baghdad, Libya. They're all infested with radical Sharia law, Muslim people, and the Quran calls for killing the infidel. Christians don't call for killing Muslims. Remember that. That's the difference. So our campuses are not going to be Muslim. They're going to be Christian Judeo campuses, or they're going to get these people out of here and stop the protests and stop and take back. We need to take back some of our professors out of these institutions. Then they went to started with K through 12 with the sexualizing our children, critical race theory, DEI, transgender, COVID, mandatory shots, wearing a mask. It was all BS, man. You've been lied to and gaslighted the whole time. Now Trump is trying to ungaslight you, and the Democrats, the judges, are sometimes trying to sneak immigrants out a side door. The judge got arrested. Of course, she got arrested. Every policy executive order Trump signs, they go and get a federal judge. They handpick a federal judge because half our federal judges hate this country anyway. It's so funny how many people hate our country. The Democrats hate our country. They have nothing to offer positive to anybody. No smile, no joy, no plan, no economic plan, no except more of the same that's been going on. They don't want USAID to be audited. Why not? You're sending trillions of dollars of our money out the door, hundreds of billions of dollars of our money out the door to other countries that don't even want it. DEI in Pakistan, $6 million to teach DEI classes there. Transgender over in Qatar. Nobody wants transgender over there. Qatar I used as a nation that probably wasn't the right nation to use. But I mean, all through the globe, Somalia, you know, you got South Africa is genociding whites right now. You got Iran almost getting a nuke, seriously almost getting a nuke, and they have threatened if we get a nuke to wipe out Israel. So we can't let them get a nuke, and they still are not letting inspectors in. They're not at the peace table talks because Persia, which I call Iran Persia, that's the original name for them. The Persians are just an ancient, barbaric, evil civilization, and they are evil. They're evil to their people. China is evil to their people. A lot of countries are evil to their people, and South Africa is now evil to their people. But you know, a lot of Muslim countries are evil to their people. We don't want Sharia law in this country. You can come and have a mosque here and worship, but you're not gonna take over our college campuses and our schools and sexualize our children. We need to take our schools back, our college campuses back. The fraud, fight the Democrats, fight the judges. This is all coming to a constitutional crisis in the Supreme Court. And do not blame Putin for invading Ukraine because he's not solely responsible for it. Is he still bombing it now? Yeah. Would I be honest with you? I wouldn't stop. No, because I would tell Trump, I don't know who's going to be the president in 3.5 years. Is he going to come in and reverse everything? And now, continue to NATO and you guys to continue to put troops and biolabs in my backyard, continue to, jail and secret prisons, my Russian-speaking provinces. Ukraine is technically part of Russia, whether you believe it or not. Study the ancient history of it. You can look up the Tucker Carlson, Vladimir Putin interview, and Vladimir Putin goes on for an hour straight on how Ukraine does belong to Russia. That's all I want to say. I hope you...
including children. Dozens more were injured. Trump, who spoke with Putin recently, trying to negotiate a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. He said he was very surprised about the aerial assault.
We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
On social media, Trump also criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who said Sunday morning that, quote, America's silence encourages Putin to continue his onslaught. Russia's air assault also came despite the largest prisoner swap of the war taking place. More than 600 Russian and Ukrainian prisoners were exchanged Sunday. Russia's air assault also came despite the largest prisoner swap of the war happening. More than 600 Russian and Ukrainian prisoners were exchanged on Sunday. In the newsroom, Syra Anwar, Local 10 News.
All right, Syra, thank you.
Look at the three of them. President Trump, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, all go to Bible study every day. All are Christian. All want the best for America. Give Trump a chance and be patient with the process with Putin because we have an enormous 1.7 million people have been killed since the Ukraine and Gaza war has started. That is more than from 1939 to 41 till Hitler invaded Europe. For the first 2 years of the war, 1.7 million people weren't killed. 1.7 million people are killed now, and these wars can spread very quickly. They're like tinderboxes. So do not apologize for your nation. Be proud you're an American. Be proud you're a Christian if you are. If you're not, we're still proud you're an American. Do not burn the American flag. And, You will not continue to take over our college campuses because international exchange program is not in the Constitution. It is a privilege to come into this great nation of ours and study. We didn't ask you to come over here and be crusaders and start burning up libraries, committing violence on Jewish campuses, putting protests up every day against our police and campuses. This ain't what we brought you over here to do. So we're going to revoke your visa and send you back to your country. You're not a good candidate for this program. Simple as that. And Harvard, you don't need federal money anymore. I think they need to pull the 501c3 tax status from all these institutions because they've lost their way. They're not keeping Jewish students safe. They're not spreading. They're teaching anti-American propaganda. Could you imagine a professor in your own country telling people to hate your country? Do you realize how many judges are totally insane right now? How many Democrats are insane? That they have nothing to offer but lawfare. So what's going to happen when the courts, the Supreme Court hears the case eventually about the executive powers of the president? Well, what's going to happen when the Supreme Court sides with the right? You think the left is just going to give up and give in? They won't give up. They're nuts. They will push their ideology at all costs. They will sneak immigrants out of their courtroom, and judges will risk getting arrested. They did. They did it twice. They find a judge that hates Trump because they have Trump derangement syndrome, and that'll just because the delay is to deny. Okay, remember that. So the more you delay these criminal, illegal immigrants from getting out of the country, the more you're denying them from leaving. Because we don't have 3 years to wait for an appeal court to listen to all these cases. It would take 214 years to listen to all the cases that we have right now. We don't have that time to get these people out of the country. So Trump had a mandate, sponsor Trump. He's getting criminal illegal aliens out of the country. Any judge votes against him, pray against that judge. Hopefully that judge gets, his powers taken away from him because he shouldn't be over the court or legal situation in the United States if he hates America and he hates Trump. He hates the president. And they shouldn't be tying the president up to get these illegal criminals who have committed rape, human trafficking, murder, child pornography. You got to go, man. You got to go. If you came in here illegally and you have committed a murder, rape, violent crime, all these gangs were terrorizing American cities, and they still are now. Our cities are not safe anymore. Washington, D.C. is not safe. Look at those 2 Jewish students that just got gunned down right by the Capitol. Okay, America is not safe. I went through these cities and looked. They're very dangerous, some of them. So America needs to become a safe law and order place again. That's all I want to say in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. God bless you.